I have a question about beliefs, and the first thing I've heard, I haven't heard it directly from you, but I've heard it through Abe friends, that the energy of Seth is within the Abe family, so to speak. Okay, I wanted to clarify that, and the reason why I want to clarify that is because in the Seth books it talks a lot about finding your beliefs. And when I first discovered Abraham, I was kind of into the finding beliefs, and then it was like, it didn't make a difference. How does this serve you, finding it? And it was real kind of lighthearted. And then I kind of went back to it a little bit. There's other sources, we'll say channelers, that I really adore, and they really resonate with me really good. And they say, follow your beliefs. So my main thing is to try to find that myself. I love, it's kind of like a two-part question here is, I really want to get more in tune with my own guidance, and I think it's just being more aware of it. But a part of me is saying, well, digging up these beliefs, how does this serve you? I hear that a lot. You need to find the belief, the underneath belief, the core belief, so to speak, and then you can kind of move from there. Versus when you talk about cleaning up your beliefs, you're just, you're not discovering what's the underneath belief, you're just moving that belief along really without knowing what the belief is. Do you follow what I'm saying there?
Well, here's the thing. If someone introduced a new belief to you, let's say it is on a subject that you have not considered, and you're having a conversation with someone and they introduce information to you, and they are very sure of what they're saying and compelling, and they hold your focused attention for long enough that you develop an opinion about this subject, and your opinion falls right in line with their opinion because it's the first time you've heard about it, and you are in the time that you're together, you begin to vibrate as they are vibrating on the subject. And then the next day you meet someone else who has a very different impression. Even in that one day to the next, you might have yourself leaning toward what you first learned about it in a harder way, so that it would be more difficult for you to receive what the new person is now telling you. Now, if that happened early in your life, so that there was this idea that was activated within you, and because this idea was activated within you, it now by law of attraction became a point of attraction, you might very well over a period of time really come to have what you are calling a core belief, because it started a long time ago. You never offered any thought that was different from it. Law of attraction brought you lots of evidence that supported it, and now it's what you believe. Well, there are all kinds of things that you believe that you don't necessarily want to experience. When we began visiting with you through Esther in this format years ago, we were talking about if you have a desire and you believe that desire, then it is, because there's no separation in your vibration. You want it, you expect it, you're offering one signal, and in very short order you're going to allow it into your experience. And so we were talking, and Seth's words were the same, about bridging beliefs, about bringing your beliefs into vibrational alignment with your desire. And when you do that, simple physics, law of attraction says you're offering one signal, it's going to get you some results. Now what we are wanting to say to you in even clearer fashion is that the things that you call beliefs, even the things that you call core beliefs, are only vibrations that you've been offering for a long enough period of time that you've attracted a certain amount of evidence around them that has caused you now to form a very strong expectation. And the reason that they feel like core beliefs is because they remain stable in your experience. In other words, you've believed it, life shows itself to you in that way, so you come to just believe it. Now, what we are attempting to do as we're interacting with you out here on this leading edge, we want to shake things up a little bit by explaining to you that just because you see a lot of evidence of something, and just because it is considered to be truth because it's documented and evidenced by scientific surveys or by historical documents, or even by large numbers of people who answer the polls that say yes, this is the way that it is, we want you to come around to understanding that just because something is true doesn't mean that it deserves your attention. we want you to set a new criteria for what you give your attention to. And we would like that new criteria to be the same criteria that your source uses, which is, how does it feel when you give your attention to it? And this is the way you get to utterly core beliefs. In other words, the corest of the core beliefs is that you are a magnificent and worthy being and that life should be good for you. That is a core belief. And when you deviate from it, you feel the separation in your vibration. You don't feel so good, you see. A core belief is that life is supposed to be good for you. A core belief is that you are a creator. But when you come into your physical environment and you are not aware of and therefore trying to find thoughts that resonate with those core beliefs, and you listen to teachers or anyone, but teachers are a good example of it, who have another agenda. They're trying to control a classroom. They're trying to meet the curriculum. They're trying to answer to the administration. They have all of these things that they are considering as well as your well-being, but often rather than your well-being, or more important than your well-being, are these other things that are important to them. And so the feedback that you get is different than that which your inner being is giving you about those core beliefs. And so over time, as you and almost everybody else you know responds to the environment around you rather than to the way you're resonating within, what happens is you begin to beat the drum of thoughts that are not serving you very well, but because everybody else is beating the drum, and you sometimes consciously don't want to be the odd one out, so you do it. And sometimes it's not conscious, you just do it because by osmosis everybody is doing it. But humans have accepted so many beliefs that are detrimental to their experience. That's why there's so much in this leading edge experience with all of the resources available. It is inconceivable that anyone on this planet would be hungry, or that you would not have resolved your differences enough that you can live in peace with one another. It has to be that people have adopted beliefs that are superimposed over these core beliefs that is making them operate out of lack rather than out of connection. And so we don't care at all what your beliefs are. We're not interested. We have not been interested ever in changing one person's belief about anything. What we are interested in doing is helping you find alignment with what your life has caused you to carve out for you, because we know that this environment is large enough that everyone on the planet can satisfy their personal individual desires without getting in anybody else's way, because there is not a finite amount of resources that is available that's being divvied up. When you become abundant, you don't deprive anyone of abundance. When you become healthy, you don't deprive anyone of health. The resources are expanding in proportion to the desire that is happening because of the contrast that you are living, you see. And so while beliefs certainly must be a consideration, and they certainly are early steps in your evolving in terms of understanding your creative endeavor, when you get into the subject of beliefs, most often humans get off on this tangent of comparing beliefs and defining which beliefs are wholesome and which aren't, and which beliefs are the right ones and which beliefs are the wrong ones, in their misguided effort to control circumstances that will never be controlled. And every moment that any of you spend trying to control circumstances is time wasted, when you could have been aligning energy, and law of attraction would be doing the controlling of the circumstances.
Okay, so I really don't need to dig in looking for beliefs. I mean, to get to the point, and I really...
Well, there's an easier way. In
Yeah.
other words, because when you try to define what your belief is, you just activate the belief
Yep.
and make the separation stronger. So there's a difference between saying, it's like with the navigational systems, you are where you are, and that's what a belief is. You are where you are. Now what? And so with the navigational system in your vehicles, the system automatically acknowledges where you are. You program in where you're going. The system knows where you are. But then the route immediately begins to be calculated from where you are to where you want to go. And that's the way your guidance system works too. You spend you spend no time beating the drum of where you are, because where you are keeps changing. It's an interesting thing with those guidance system. It knows where you want to be, and it knows where you are, and it keeps knowing where you are. No matter where you are, it keeps knowing where you are, because where you are is where you are. Yeah. And what happens with so many humans, because they are aware that they are not yet where they want to be, and they are so aware of where they are in relationship to where they want to be, that then they spend lifetimes trying to explain how they got to where they are, which just makes them stay where they are longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. We say to people, what is it that you want? And they say, I'd like to be over there. We say, what's over there? And they say, I don't know, I'm not over there. We say, well, what do you think's over there? Well, it's a lot better than what's over here. But what's over there? Well, it's got to be better than what's over here. Do you know how long I've been over here? Well, tell us about over there. I will. I'm so eager to get away from here. I've been here for a really long time. And did I tell you how I got here? I've been here. I don't want to be here, but here I am. Well, where would you like to go? I'd like to go over there, but here's where I am. Here, over here, over here. I've joined groups that are over here with me. And we talk about how long we've been here and how we don't like being here and whose fault it is that we are here. And we say, where you are is where you are is where you are is where you are. So what? You're always somewhere on your way. And when you get your eye on where you're going, then the current beliefs don't matter so much. If you could get the desire factor really reverberating and the where I am factor not reverberating so much, you'd move faster to where you want to be. But we think it's this need to justify. We really believe that what happens with so many people, the reason that more people do not fixate on where they're going and envision where they're going, but instead continue to beat the drum of where they are, is because they feel like they have to justify to the universe how bad it is where they are, thinking that if they can plead a needy enough case, that the universe will feel sorry for them and yield to them what they are wanting. And we say, the universe doesn't respond like that. That was your mother who caved in to your whining and complaining. But while she could eke out a few things that you thought you wanted, if she yielded to you, she trained you to give your attention in the wrong direction. So we have for a very long time been attempting to downplay beliefs while we encourage you to amplify where you are going.
Yep. Okay, I really do understand where I want to be, and I don't like to listen to outside sources. I try to kind of follow my guidance, and sometimes
good, because they don't know.
Yeah.
They're not any of the 2 points of vibrational relativity. You're where you are, you know where you want to be, and anybody else that's talking to you about it can only be part of the step 1 equation, but they cannot help you in the step 3 part of the question, which is how to shift that. So there is value. In other words, Seth used the words bridging beliefs, and we are calling it moving up the emotional scale. We're calling it closing the gap. We're calling it offering one signal. Your non-physical energy, you're one signal. You're born, your energy split a little bit. You go to sleep, you're one signal. You wake up, you're split a little bit. You appreciate, you're one signal. You focus upon something you don't want. You focus upon something you don't want. You focus on something that you don't want. You go to sleep, you come back as one signal. You wake up, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to sleep. You wake up, you meditate, you wake up, you croak. In other words, and so what we're wanting you to understand is that through deliberate caring about how you feel, by reaching for the best feeling thought you can find from where you are. Joseph Campbell gave you the best words that we've ever heard spoken by a human tongue when he said, follow your bliss. But sometimes you cannot get a whiff of bliss. And so as you are moving yourself up the emotional scale, and you do it every day on any subject that's presenting itself to you, before you know it, you get a handle on how you feel, and you have more control about how you feel. And we are more interested in your attention being upon how you feel than upon what you believe. Because if you care about how you feel, you'll be reaching for improvements in what you believe. A